Well, hey everyone, welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. Hope you're having yourself a great day. We're doing a one-armed Crucible of War market update. I do have a baby in my arm, which is pretty fun. Get used to it. I did my previous job. I had my baby, my first child with us for the first 3 months, so it was pretty cool. Anyway, we're going to do Crucible of War. Yesterday we did Tales of Aria. Today's Crucible of War. Let's see where the market is. If you want to have access to all this data as a collection tracker, head on over to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG. It's a great way to track the value of your collection. All the sets are included all the way through Tales of Aria. The promos have also just been updated as well, patrons, so make sure you update your new promo tracker. The values update in real time whenever I do a video. You also get an access to a 10% off coupon code over at Midtown Merchant, which is a great way to buy your cards and save some money as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into Crucible of War, see where we're at. I firmly believe that Crucible of War, I don't often say this, but Crucible of War, in my opinion, and I am not a financial advisor, is undervalued compared to the rest of the market right now. We had a great dialogue on it during our live stream for the Tales of Aria box opening, and Don from Critical Games and Hobbies also agrees with me. So let's hop in, see why I think that. First off, first edition boxes this week sitting at $68. Check this out. So $688, not $68. $688 first edition. There was also some sold listings around the $710, $700 range. Facebook, you can kind of see them for around $675, around there. So I went with $688 because that was the public listing. Yeah, so, I mean, man, if you take a look at the way that this graph works, we are now kind of, this is the prime zone for me between the 500 and 750. This was like around the time, actually, I think it was March when the print run numbers were released. So we even had a increase before the print run numbers were released. So I really firmly believe that these boxes have a strong floor around the $500 to $600 range. Just based on these graphs and when all the stuff happened that caused the value of the cards to go up. 500 was kind of a long time as boxes kind of were trickling in from distribution, and then they dried up and they quickly hit the 750. And then we got the print run numbers when we heard about Monarch, and that kind of drove the prices up to 1400. I really firmly believe there's a strong floor at around 500 to 600 on these boxes. So I don't think you'll see these prices for very long. I've actually put out on my Discord server that I'm looking to buy some boxes around these price points. So anyway, looking on to Unlimited, you can currently get boxes for about $75 over on TCG Player. All right, let's talk about it. Let's get into first edition, and let me talk about it a little bit more. First off, the Shard. I guess we're not getting into first edition yet. The Shard is sitting at $3,000. There's actually a sold listing this week, which is always nice to get a new sold listing. For $3,000 for the Cold Foil Arcanite Shard. Of course, last week we had one, or a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, for $2,500. Meanwhile, the Unlimited Shard is still decreasing in value, sitting at around $178. All right, let's talk about first edition. Let's see, is it worth it to open up a $688 box of first edition Crucible of War? Well, not a good look if you are opening up the Twinning Blade. And this one really honestly surprised me. I had a good conversation about this in our Discord server today as well. The Twinning Blade Extended, I guess it didn't load when I searched for it. The Twinning Blade Extended sold today for $990. Let me try to get that for you. For $990, and that's an auction. And I really thought that we were going to see, we had a sold listing at $2,000 a couple weeks ago, and we also saw a sold listing at $2,000. We had a lot of sold listings like for the 9 sitting at $2,000. So either we're switching away from what a 9.0 is worth, or the card has taken a little bit of a hit in value this week. And I was honestly surprised to see this sell for this low. I was actually following that auction. I was surprised to see it sell for that low. Anyway, $990 is this week's kind of price. The other one's not really moving at all. Cheyenne hasn't really sold. You can see Cheyenne is one of the cards that has lost the most value in Flesh and Blood percentage-wise since the spike. Cheyenne had spiked all the way up to $8,500 and is now sitting at $2,500. So one of the cards that lost the most value in the Flesh and Blood decline over the last couple months. All right, looking forward, let's go ahead and talk about some other stuff. The Majestic Cold Foils had a very good week this week. We're up 18%. Lots of sold listings. Courage of Bladehold for $690. Gambler's Gloves for $561. Breeze Rider Boots for $555. I think that's the one that I'm going to pop up and actually show you. the Breeze Rider boots. And you can see it's not just one sold listing. Since I've done these updates, it's actually 2 sold listings in the 500. This 520 euro is the price that I went with. That's $555 in US dollars. So you're seeing some increases in these. Again, we talked about this on the stream. I really believe that these are some of the most undervalued cards in all Flesh and Blood. Even still, at some of these price points still seem pretty undervalued. That's just my opinion, though. Just based on the print run, the number of these, they're about the same rarity in terms of pulling them in like 1 in 4 boxes seems to be around, maybe a little bit less, 1 in 3 if you get a really good case, but they're just very rare and there's not that many of them. So on the marketplace last week I did this, there was considerably lower amount of Majestic cold foils than Monarch legendaries. There was like 6 compared to 20 on average of each individual one. So I thought that was really interesting, and that's something I talked about with some people as well. So I think these are, it doesn't surprise me that these are ticking up before the sealed box prices tick up. You'll see when we get to the EV what I'm going to talk about, but it doesn't surprise me that these are going to tick up early, and it'll be interesting to see if the market adds more to the market or what happens with them, because we have seen some significant values in these over the last couple months, and months ago, not the last couple months, some significant decreases in these, especially compared to the other stuff. So let's hop in and continue looking. The rare cold foils, meanwhile, are still losing some value. These are having a hard time catching up. They kind of trickle up a little bit. You can see here. They trickle up a little bit, they flatline, and then they kind of go down a little bit. These always had a hard time moving until that one kind of 3 or 4, almost 2 month period where we had the strong increases. But these are always kind of up and down. Even way back here, you can see like they would tick up and then they drop down, and then they tick up a little bit and drop down. It's just kind of the way that the first edition cold foil rares have always been. All right, let's move on. The Rainbow Foil Majestics still being heavily influenced by the unlimited pricing. Still a lot of losses going on, down 2%. You're seeing across the board losses, though. It's hard to find any significant gains. Spoils of War took a hard hit a couple weeks ago. It's kind of retraced back to the $68. But what we're seeing is that players aren't caring as much about the first edition stuff as they had previously. And that's where we're seeing some of this stuff kind of pick up. Your average is then sitting at $34. Meanwhile, your regular rares also losing values. Again, I think this is all connected to unlimited. You've got a few things ticking up, like Rattlebones. Maybe going to see some play in Briar potentially. Massacre ticking up. Heron's Flight, Chain Lightning, Gorgonian Tome. A few things ticking up, but realistically, unlimited is still very heavily affecting the Majestic values in this set. So moving on, the rare sitting at an average of $7 for the Rainbow Foil. The regular rare sitting at average of $1. Rainbow Foil Common sitting at $2.50 and regular Common sitting at 45 cents. All right, this puts your EV then, if you were to open up 40 boxes and not include the regular commons, you'd be sitting at $699.38. If you were to take out the Fable out of that equation, so now you're not opening 40 boxes, maybe you're opening 10, about 10 probably would be here, you'd be sitting at $624 on average. But if you're just opening up one box, you're not going to hit a legendary, you're not going to hit a Fable, you'd be sitting at $530. Now here's what I want to talk about. This value is, it's dropping, but like the box price is also dropping. But this is this cold foil Majestic is the slot here. I think people need to start looking at this as the legendary in the set. And when these things start to turn around, and time will tell if these prices that we've been talking about for these Majestic cold foils, time will tell if these start holding or if these retrace back down. But I think that's the slot that you have to look at if you're talking about first edition box prices, because this is what is driving the ship for the EV by far. The Majestic cold foil, Fable cold foil, not as much. The Majestic regular, kind of, but like this Majestic cold foil is eating up a large piece of the pie. I really think box prices will follow kind of the percentage gains or losses of those Majestic cold foils. Just my humble opinion. Anyway, let's move on to Unlimited. We'll kind of burn through this and see, is it worth it to open up one of those $75 boxes of Unlimited. Tunic down to $125. I still think Tunic is a $75 to $80 card once Unlimited is as readily available as it should be. Currently, I cannot get Unlimited Crucible War from distribution. Cheyenne's to $65. That puts your average at $95. Meanwhile, Unlimited Rainbow Foils, a lot of decreases here. Gorgonian Tome sitting at $8.50, Poison the Tips at $13. You're just seeing a lot of retracement as more and more boxes get opened. Again, I can't order them from distribution, but you are seeing just some decreases across the board as other people are getting boxes in and then opening them. A lot of stores opening for singles too. You can see, we'll show you the averages on these. I don't know why it's not popping up. I think the average is $4.74. So I don't know why it's not popping up anymore on the graphics, but that's where we're sitting right now. Not like it's hard to tell exactly what's happening based on even blood sheets going down, remorses going down. You're seeing some of these heroes. Maybe we saw an increase based on the speculation on Tales of Aria, and that's just not panning out, or the supply just was too much for that to pan out. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Your rares and commons don't really have much value, even in the rainbow foil ones. So here we go. Your EV then, if you take out the regular commons, you're sitting at $86. That's opening 40 boxes. If you take out the Fable, you're sitting at 82 boxes. I'd say that'd be your average if you open up about 10 boxes. And then if you're just going to open up one box, you're not going to hit a Legend, you're not going to hit a Fable. You're sitting on $73 per box. Keep in mind, though, the Majestics are still eating up a huge piece of this pie. The Majestic Rainbow Foils, which also include those cards, previously in the first edition that would be cold foils, that's eating up a good chunk of the pie. So if you don't hit the right Majestics, if you don't hit equipment, you might be a little bit lower. Keep in mind that this set is extremely well collated, so you do have about 6 Majestics per box on average, almost 100% of the time, and then you have about 1.5 rainbow foil Majestics. So that being said, it's definitely worth it to open up boxes, especially if you can kind of get multiple at the same time. If you want to see what the EV would be like if you only include the Majestics and up, or whatever you want to do, only cards worth $2 or more, head on over to ev.kitchentabletcg.com. That is a free tool available to the public to calculate out it kind of works like Dongler a little bit, calculate out the EV and see, is it worth it for you to open up boxes. Again, if you want this all as a collection tracker to track the value of your collection, head on over to patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG. We do run 3 Discord server armory events a week, which is awesome. It's a great way to learn to play the game if you have never played before. There's lots of people who want to help and teach people how to play. With all that being said, I hope you guys are having a great day. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and we'll talk to you again later.